Hello, believers. Hope you're well. This is a podcast where we speak to creative folk about what they do, what they think, and what they think of the X-Files. I'm going to get straight down to it this week. In honour of today's guest, I've been scouring Edinburgh for a giant printing press to record the intro to this episode from. I wanted something like, at the end of the Spielberg film Catch Me If You Can, where Leonardo DiCaprio's fled to France and he's printing out all these checks in this massive industrial printing press, and then Tom Hanks arrives to try and take him back home to the States. That's what I wanted, but in Scotland. Sadly, I've not been able to find that or an equivalent. All I could really muster up was a couple of print and design shops on Leith Walk. So I thought what I'd do instead, as you could probably hear in the background, is print out a couple of insurance documents, and I'm sure your mind is thinking paper, print, typefaces. Yes, it's a tenuous link, but it can't all be standing on top of Arthur's seat screaming into the wind. But I may do that for an upcoming intro. The weather's very nice outside. Not that I've really seen much of it when I'm not working. I've been sat in my office beavering away, editing some really good upcoming episodes and recording some fantastic ones for the next season of Believe Me. I'll keep it to myself for the moment, but lots of fantastically interesting people from lots of different backgrounds coming up on the next season, and it's a great season of the X-Files too. We kind of blasted through the exposition and we're into some great Monster of the Week episodes. So I'm looking forward to that coming out, probably around June time. Anyway, before that, and let me just load some more paper in to the printer, it's today's guest. It's the Midlands-based graphic designer, Natalie Clay. And we can probably get into whether Derbyshire is Midlands or the North. I think it's Midlands, North Midlands. Yeah, sorry about that. I first met Natalie when we were working together at comics publisher Titan Books in London many moons ago. And like me, Natalie was born in Chesterfield, North Derbyshire town. I'm increasingly beginning to think that Chesterfield is the centre of the universe. Wherever I tend to go in the world, there's always that familiar vowel sound. Can't escape it, and nor do I want to. If you pass in Chesterfield on the train, you'll see the Crooked Church spire. That's about it, but you have to delve deeper below the surface to find the mysteries of Chesterfield. Do get off the train though, give it a wander around. Thursday's a market day, I believe. Natalie has been a designer for the best part of 2 decades, and she currently works with a massive range of clients from the Premier League to the NHS, book publishers, city councils, sports clients like Puma. We talk about a whole range of things, avoiding labels, bad careers advice, falling in love with type, moving to the Midlands, or is it the North, soldiering on, a beautiful game, even though I know nothing about it. And naturally, we get on to speaking about X-Files Season 1, Episode 20, Darkness Falls. As always, please do leave me a message at believemepod@gmail.com. Subscribe to wherever you listen to these podcasts. We're on YouTube now. If that's your bag, do catch up with the earlier episodes of the show. We're on X, Instagram, Facebook, still battling away on there. I hope you enjoy this chat. I've really enjoyed catching up with Natalie again and seeing what she was up to. I've always really loved outlook on life, and I know you will too. So here she is. Here's Natalie.
There's nothing wrong with me at the moment.
Yeah. What have you been up to recently then? Have you been, do you just work from home now?
Yes. So there's not a lot of interaction with other people.
Oh, right.
Physically, there's a school run, me
Yeah.
sat in here all day and then running back out again and chatting to various people via Zoom.
Yeah.
Which is why you mentioned COVID then and sort of what you did during there. It's like, my life really didn't change that much. It was just the same. Everyone else is having all this chaos and change. It's like, no, just this is what I do all the time.
Yeah. Do you mind it then doing meetings over Zoom? Because I know some people absolutely hate it.
I don't mind a meeting, but when it's a physical sort of around people all the time, they just drag on, man, and it's just sort of unnecessary chat. Whereas with this one, you can kind of go, yep, see you later, and then just gone.
Yes.
So I do like that immediate finalisation.
Yeah. It's like people feel they need to fill the hour. We've scheduled an hour, so we're here for an hour.
Yeah, there's just lots of unnecessary chat, and you can't really do that at the start of Zoom. There's always that sort of awkward bit where sort of the first two people arrive on the screen, and you don't really, especially when you don't know them. There's a lot of people I go to meetings with and I have no idea who they are. So it's sort of some awkward chat for 2 seconds and that's it. So yeah, I'm all for the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, or I guess it's the same in most meetings where there's always usually one person who has not said anything for the entire meeting and then pipes up just to say something, just to have like a pence worth in it. It's like, right, that meeting was worthwhile for me.
It never is, isn't it?
No. Or people kind of, I always remember that Seinfeld thing about where he says, it never gets better than the meeting. So if you have a good meeting, it's like, whoa, we put the world to rights in that meeting. Blue sky, we're going to make this TV show. It's going to be amazing. And it's all downhill from that meeting. So just enjoy the meeting as much as you can. But,
definitely. It's sort of, and I hate that. The worst thing about Zoom though is that thing. It's like, oh, I'm just going to chat to so and so afterwards. So we'll see you later. And it feels like, are they talking about me?
Right.
Like you don't all leave the room. It's like they all stay there and you're the one to leave. It's like, oh, did I do something?
I guess it's like, they very rarely are though, are they? It's like life, isn't it? It's like no one's even thinking about you.
No one's come. No, this is why I was like, why have you asked me to do this? Like, nobody's interested in what I'm doing.
Hey, they are. they're knocking down the door. They're interested. So, I mean, how does your day kind of pan out then? Are you quite rigid about how you navigate your sort of work through the day, or is it quite freewheeling?
I try and be. I'm quite an organised person, but sometimes it just does not turn out that way. Or it's like you today with the kid at home, and there's just lots of days like that. So it's just getting up. It's just like, have I been bothered to do Arthur's packed lunch last night, or am I doing it last minute? And it's last minute. This morning, Mum, I got spelling tests. It's like, how long you've had that all week? It's the same day every week, and we never it goes completely awry almost immediately every morning. And and then so it depends on what stress level I've got to, how long I'll walk the dog after I've dropped all the kids off. And and then sort of, no, I really need to get back to my desk now. Or if I'm really stressed out, it's like, no, I'm just going to keep walking, man. I'm just going to keep going.
That's nice. That's a nice buffer before you get into your day, your work day.
But then you sort of try and calm yourself down, and then you realise you've gone an hour well over, and now you've got to get some work done, and I shouldn't have done that, and now I'm more stressed out than I was before. Yeah.
Who are you sort of? I mean, if you can say, who are your sort of major clients at the minute? Then, who are you working for?
I am still doing stuff I do stuff for the Premier League.
Oh yes, right.
Yeah. So there's lots of that ongoing throughout the year after they do their big handbook. So I work for them quite a bit. I've been doing stuff for the NHS, sort of local councils and things recently, which has been interesting. You sort of start to see where your money goes and how these places are going bankrupt.
Really? Right.
Yeah.
What, like loads of changes? It's like, well, I'm going to bill you for £200 for that.
Yeah, just the budgets that they get and the schemes that all these local governments have got, and you think, oh man, that's a real waste of everyone's money. And then it's like, and this, I'm going to charge you this. Thanks. I'll take a bit of that. I'm putting it in. It's coming back out again.
How did you get involved with them then? Because that's meaty clients, aren't they? How did those come about?
All their mums.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And it's sort of going to children's birthday parties. So I'm always that one. I sort of mainly get that. But yeah, sometimes it's just another mum sort of, oh, what do you do? It's like, oh, I need a graphic designer. Do you?
Right.
And yeah, so it's been quite good.
That's,
fruitful.
do you know what? I went to a kid's birthday party yesterday and I was like, I really couldn't stand it for a bit because it's so awkward. And I don't consider myself an awkward person. I feel like, I can kind of talk to most people. But there was about 5 minutes where I was just staring at the sausage rolls, thinking, what do I talk to these people about? And then we got into it. But I think I'm going to start doing that, like take it as a sort of networking meeting.
You might as well, because it's just, most people, nobody wants to be there.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, is this a drop off? Okay, we drop, and it's like, no, we've got to stay.
Drop off. Yeah. Because unless yesterday's was sort of combined with the people, don't get me wrong, I really like the people whose house it was and their kid, but it was they just moved into a new flat, so there's that part of it, it's like showing you around the flat, and then and also the birthday party angle as well. So it was like smiling at the new flat. I don't know anything about interior design, but nice, a lot of light, all that stuff you come out with. A lot of light coming in here. Yeah, we got a lot of space, and then straight into. Actually, we did get onto the X-Files, so that was quite good. I managed to wheedle it in.
Well done.
I heard someone mentioned a podcast, and I went, right. This is what I can talk. This is what I can talk to someone about. It turned out somebody else's husband ran a podcast. So I was like, oh right. Well, that's another guest. I can book another guest. In a couple of weeks' time. People. That's funny. That's great then. So, I mean, is it just in terms of like Premier League? Is it like any other client where they just get in touch and they've got a brief and we need this, or is it a kind of rolling retainer? And how does that work?
This one's rolling. I've been doing it for I don't know probably about 8 seasons now, and I think I ended up with that job. And it's quite in depth, and I think they've got to the point where they probably can't be asked to explain it to anybody else.
Yeah.
That they just keep letting me do it every year. It's quite stressful.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of different facets to it, and it looks super duper boring. It's just basically like a legal handbook of all the rules, and then all the clubs send their new kits in.
Right.
But even that is just, I love it, but it's such a pain in the arse.
Do you, so I mean, I guess let's go back to the beginning a bit then. Is design something you were always interested in, and at what point did you kind of consider studying it?
Well, at first I wanted to be a photographer.
Right, yeah.
When I was at school, and then had a careers meeting. Do you remember the careers woman or the careers person that they used to wheel into school? Did you ever have one?
Yeah, I don't think I ever. I remember something similar at uni, and I basically got told that I was not going to amount to anything because I needed to pull the figure out. And he was like, "What are you?" He just basically said, "Look at these grades. What are you going to do?" And I went, "I'm in a band," and he just like shook his head. That's worked out really well for you. But so that's this career person. Did they suggest graphic design or they?
No, immediately
right.
I said I want to be a photographer, and I got my dad's old SLR, and I mean I was probably about like 15, and showing quite a bit of interest in it, and straight away went, no, that's far too competitive a field. You'll never get a job in that.
Oh no, right?
And I was like, oh. All right then, because I was like, well, I sort of do want to win some money. But I was never ever going to do anything boring. I can't do the office. The thought of just doing sort of I couldn't do it. So I always wanted to be creative, and then I was like the only girl that did design and technology for like A level.
Really, yeah.
So it's just me and a bunch of lads and doing woodwork. I was like, I don't really want to do woodwork or make stuff. I was like, can I take a different skew on it? And I did loads of sort of posters and stuff like that. And so that's when I just got an interest in just type, really.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing that a careers person would think of their job as someone who needs to give kids a reality check.
It's like you
age
literally
16.
don't really have a job. Your job is talking about everybody else's jobs.
Yeah.
That's not a real job.
I'm imagining someone who like used to work down the pit. You know, that was their framework for like, it's like you can either go down the pit or become a butcher. That's the kind of that's your career's options in Chesterfield. But oh my, how depressing. But I mean, well, I'm glad you sort of eschewed that and kind of foraged your own, found your own path in it. But
I was quite hardworking, determined. I can remember my D&T teacher. I was like, "Oh, do you think I could do this and just do a graphics slant and stuff?" And he's like, "Natalie, I think you could do anything you put your mind to." And I was like, "That's what you need to hear. Yes. You don't need that negative Annie. Telling you can't."
Exactly. And so, did you do a course at? Was that the Chesterfield Tech, or did you go to?
Yeah, I went to Chesterfield, and I did art foundation at Chesterfield College, and I think I enjoyed that year there more than my 3 years at uni. It was a really good course, and the mix of people that you actually got, and this is talking about Chesterfield, so it's not really a cultural hub, but loads of people came from Sheffield or came from all these little towns that you'd never even heard of that were quite close by, and there were sort of all these creative young people that you didn't think existed in that place, and then they all sort of popped up, and then you sort of realised there were people interested in the music that you're interested into and doing art and design, and it was brilliant. I loved it.
That's nice to work, because I mean, what were your kind of experiences of growing up in Chesterfield before that then? Was it like, I don't know if it was any different to mine, but it was like, I always felt like you just wanted to get to Sheffield. Get out. And
get to Sheffield. You go to Sheffield first and then sort of see where it takes you. Yeah, it was just, because there was a music scene in Sheffield, and I was always into indie music, and so you discovered the Lead Mill, and then that was it. Yeah, and then just realised, like, I just want to get out of this place, man. I mean, I had a really nice childhood. I had great parents. I had an alright time, but so many people you see growing up that you realise that they never left. They just don't go anywhere, not even just like for a day. It's just they're always there.
Yeah, it's and you bump into them in the pub and they're still like making jokes about let's say the woodwork teacher. You know, do you remember the time Mr. Smith got locked in the cupboard? And it's like, I do. It's funny, but
I mean, in some senses, But I think it's good coming from a place like that if you've got a certain level of ambition, because it's just something to strive for, and just get away, and then it sort of pushes you to do it.
Do you feel like you're pushing your kids in that sort of direction? I mean,
well, that's why I've moved into like the flipping Derbyshire Dales, and it's like there are no black people here. It was just I didn't even think about it when I moved. So I came from London, Hackney, and then we sort of just picked a place on a map that was not too close to my parents, not so close to my parents that they could just pop in, but close enough that I could basically use them like for babysitting, and just to be close to the family, basically, but not too close. So then we just went, Matlock Bath. Do you remember going to Matlock Bath when you were younger? Like,
like seaside, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like a fake inland seaside. But I mean, and even then, it's the seaside's the kind of place I hate to go to, because of this, I'm not even going to say it, just the types of people that go to the seaside. Brilliant. And now I've chosen to come to a place, it's literally just like that all the time. So we didn't really think about it. We just went and looked at one house, really liked the house, and went, yep, we'll have that one.
Well, that's nice. That's a nice way to sort of navigate your life, isn't it? Just you go by your heart. This is nice. I feel quite nice.
I know, but we could have just gone to Sheffield and just thought we'll just go to a smaller city, but we didn't. And
that's funny.
Yeah. So, but now my kids will probably sort of get that experience of being in somewhere which is like, wow, what we're doing here, we need to get out.
Yeah, it's funny because I was doing some work in Birmingham, and I got off the train in Birmingham, and I was like, oh shit, black people and Asian people, because I just didn't. Edinburgh's so white.
Yeah, it's
you just get lulled into this like white people existence, where it's like, or you just meet like American tourists all the time. There's just not, because I don't get over to Glasgow as much, but Glasgow's a lot more diverse, a lot more sort of. It feels a lot younger as well because you've got the art colleges over there. So I was really like, I just realised how just white Edinburgh was, which it's quite just depressed me for a couple of weeks afterwards. But that's funny.
But I'm probably was really exotic when I moved into the area. It's like, oh. We've got a mixed race last moving, haven't we?
Yeah, let's go and talk to her. Yeah.
But then it's like, where are you from? Like Chesterfield? They're like, oh right, I thought you're going to be just at least from a city, and it's like, no.
Right. Yes. I mean, how did you folks get together, and did they experience anything like that? I mean, when they moved in, had they always lived in Chesterfield, or were they?
Yeah. So my mum came over from Dominica when she was 7.
Right.
And sort of, she's just a very confident lady and doesn't really take any shit. So I don't think then she particularly got any.
Right.
So it's very interesting. Then she got together with my dad, and my dad's, they're all from like miners and mining families. And again, like my dad's mum and dad had no problem, no issue with the race at all, which was quite odd, just because my mum is amazing and she's just lovely, and they were just like, yeah, we really like Martha, she's cracking, there's nothing, they weren't bothered at all. And sort of my granddad was very popular in his village and stuff like that, so if it wasn't a problem for my granddad, it wasn't a problem for anybody else.
Right.
And then they sort of just, and that's sort of the attitude they took with it. And then with me growing up, I wasn't really very aware of being mixed race at all. We didn't really talk about race or culture. It's sort of as if it's just doesn't need to be an issue. It certainly doesn't need to be an issue, but also it's probably shouldn't be something really definitive.
Sure.
About itself. It's just they always just brought us up just with our own personality, basically. I mean, but it did become a bit of an issue when I got to high school, and there was a black girl there, and I was so unaware of being mixed race that I asked her which one of her parents was white and which was black, and she was like, right. Are you kidding? I was like, no. So I was just like, I always just say I'm the whitest black girl you'll probably ever meet. I was like, everything was just tasting music. And then my brother's the complete opposite.
Really? Right, okay.
Yeah.
If someone asks you how you identify, I presume you'd just say like northerner, would you? Or is that different to your brother? Would he put down I feel black British, or how would he say it, do you think?
I don't know. I'm really not fond of labels in any sense at all. So I think I can remember someone saying, "Are you a feminist?" And I was like, "No," and they got really annoyed with me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, sort of my reaction to that is probably more of a feminist reaction than what you're doing, because it's like I'm just speaking my own mind, making my own decision about who and what I am.
Yeah.
And you're sat there telling me I've got to be this, that, and the other. I'm just Natalie.
Yeah.
That's it. I think it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, at what point did you? Did you get out of Chesterfield, for want of a better word? Then did you? At what uni did you go to after the college?
I ended up going to Middlesex University.
Right. Okay.
And that was probably a bit of a. So, my partner Dave and I got together when we were quite young, 18. And that's where he was going, and I got an unconditional from Manchester,
right? And
I was going to go there, and then we sat down and had a bit of a chat about it, and then decided we wanted to stay together, and if we went separate places, that would probably be it.
Yeah.
So that ended up being the decision, but it was the right one. 22 years later.
Oh, very nice. Oh, lovely.
Still going, but also Middlesex. I think it was a bit more of a challenge. I think. And then it was good because I then just basically got to go to London.
Yeah.
And I think that was better for me than going to somewhere as... Manchester was more familiar to me, and I probably wouldn't have been enough of a change.
Do you feel like you got something out of being? I mean, I guess you just said that, but at what point did you kind of think, I've sort of done London, or is it when the kids come along, or you weren't getting what you thought you needed out of London anymore?
I mean, we lived in a warehouse, we're quite arty and did all that. And then you go along in stages, then move to Victoria Park in East London. That's very sort of, just very, almost as well, not too suburban, but it was just very comfortable. And then you find that I wasn't going out of East London. I wasn't even going into Central to do anything.
Right, yeah.
And so sort of you make this huge city you can make it into a very small place. It was just money and wanting to buy somewhere and live somewhere where you can make your own stamp on things and not renting, and it was just that really, and just thinking I'm not spending. I mean, it's not right. I like it here, but I sort of I've done it, and I think I think it's when you start to get a bit older as well, and just you start to just get bored of going out. and that is sort of why you just want a bit more of out of life, I think.
It's kind of like we always said, like, London's good because you've got the option to do something if you want, but it's not even like I was when we moved out, we weren't going out clubbing every night. I mean, I think probably went to one gallery show every month. That was about
exactly.
But that's funny. So do you see, it's funny you mentioned about your folks being like close to your folks, because we moved back to Sheffield and then sort of
immediately left again.
Well, we gave it 4 years, but it was like, there was certainly a feeling, I thought, we're going to see my mum quite a lot now, and she'll be there to help with childcare and that. But I feel like she's really, if I can be diplomatic about it, enjoying retirement, and is like, well, I'll see the kids on Mondays and maybe I'll come around on Saturdays. That's it. That's what you're getting. You're on your own. And there's a part of me that sort of respects that a bit, but it's not the kind of return to the family.
Yeah, the family halls. Like all back together again. Whereas I've just got my dad. He just loves my kids and just taking them to do so. And my mum's just been amazing. And just with this job, it's sort of you are just you find yourself, you're just working all the time. I mean, I had ED, I had 2 weeks off. I had Pearl, I had a week off. I had a weekend off.
Jeez.
That was it.
Wow.
And then just working through it, just sort of breastfeeding and on my computer at the same time, and so they were just, and still are, just a massive help. I'm very appreciative.
Wow. So do you ever feel any kind of burnout then?
I think it's when you stop though. I think just now the kids have got to an age where they can all play with each other, and I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn and stuff like that. I've slowed down a bit because they're sort of a bit more self-sufficient, and now, I think it's now I feel more tired now. I'm not working around the clock, and
right.
Okay. I think so. I was a bit ill last week, and I don't really get ill that often because I'm always that person, just don't stop, just burn through it, and you'll be fine. You've not got time to get ill. And then they went to my mum and dad's for 2 days, and then I slowed down and stopped, and then just got really poorly, and it's like, right. Maybe it's healthier for me to just keep going.
Yeah. Do you find any time for yourself in amongst that? And if so, how do you wind down?
I mean, saying that, we've left London, we never used to go anywhere there. We went to London at the weekend,
right.
and actually went to see some art shows. And I mean, it's quite a rare thing to do. But now they've gotten older. I mean, they're 3, 5, and 7, nearly 8. Yeah. But so they're not that old. But got to a point now we can sort of leave them for a weekend and plan ahead. Yeah. And just actually go and do something. So we booked like tickets to go to the theatre in a couple of months.
Oh, nice.
Stuff like that. But it's like sort of, we'll do something like that. It's like 3 times a year we'll do something like that. But otherwise it's sort of, just try and read a lot.
Yeah.
When I get a chance. Just read, go for walks. I like gardening. looking at the birds in the garden. It's just shit like that. I'm really enjoying sort of getting towards middle age and being like, I can do this now. I was just like, I don't give a shit about doing cool things anymore.
Yeah.
Just I'm gonna do some gardening.
That's
and,
nice. Yeah, not feeling like you have to ask for permission from anybody to do that, or feeling like odd if you're now. I'm just going to stay in and that's the thing. That whole self-care thing. That's it's not like young people are going out drinking anyway now. That's why all the pubs are closing. But whatever works for them. What did you see? What shows did you see when you went down? Then
I went to see Philip Guston, which was brilliant.
Oh, was that a Tate?
Yes.
Right. Yes.
It was just really good. It wasn't what I expected because I know all his sort of later work, and I don't think I've ever seen an artist that has changed their style so much through a career.
Right.
And it's sort of quite brave, and it's very inspiring.
I know there was some controversy because he depicted the KKK, I think, in one of his, and it got and the Tate decided to shelve the exhibition for a while. But so, what's his journey been then? How did he start, and where's he gone to with it?
The thing with that's really annoying. So he has got the thing with this like representing hoods in the work, but if you spend at least just 5 minutes reading about politicism and his sort of social awareness and the point he's trying to make, everybody just looks at something without reading about it, and immediately don't understand. And if they just spend a tiny bit of time just reading about what he's talking about, they'd be like, oh, right, I get that.
Yeah, you would think that the Tate would know that as well, but it's almost like someone, like the marketing department's intervened and gone, by the time that people actually read up on it, then it's already going to be a Twitter storm, and we can't be bothered to deal with a Twitter storm, so you might as well just shelve it. And then, really odd.
It was, and other than that, they got it wasn't there the weekend, but apparently they've had like a slam poet in there to sort of almost to just like, we'll just put something that's a little bit black in there, it makes everybody else sort of feel okay about the other conversations
it makes
that
you
are going
sick,
on.
Don't worry, there's a black guy standing next to this, so it can't be racist. It's so stupid, isn't it?
Oh, just ridiculous. So, yeah. Can't stand that kind of thing. It's just like it's mainly just laziness on a lot of people's part. It's just read for 5 minutes, and then you'll get it. Everyone's just too quick to be offended about everything.
You do like football? I was going to ask you to get me into football, but don't do that.
You have no interest in that at all.
I just can't. Yeah,
I still love it, even though we're terrible at the moment.
So are you a Man United fan? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. So who got you into that? The folks got you into that as well? Is it something you picked up?
Yeah, that was like. Well, we always played football on the street. My brother's he was really good. And I decided I really wanted to play. I was the first girl footballer in the school.
Yeah, trailblazer.
Things like that. Yeah, I was a massive tomboy. And then it was just sort of. I think it was a way to just be with my dad and my brother a bit more, and sort of for us all to have something in common. But then, we just all got really obsessed with it and had season tickets and went to European Cup finals and stuff like that. And then, and now we're living through the post fun era of just watching our team be shit all the time. And you're sort of grinding your way through it all the time now. It's like,
Yeah. I don't know how... I don't know. It seems such an emotional roller coaster from the outside of someone who I don't follow it. Just my mum's partner doggedly follows Chesterfield FC, and it's like,
I just don't understand that. I do not understand. I don't understand. Just lower league, going to watch lower league football, it's just the most painful thing. It's just bad. It's just not. They're not even very good. It's like you do this week in, week out.
Yeah.
It's just like just go and watch the Premier League. It's like these leagues are built to get to players to their elite. It's like, at least even if you're just watching it on the telly, just watch that.
I guess that's it, is it? The kind of, I can appreciate it from a sort of skill level in the same way that watching Ronnie O'Sullivan win yesterday.
I love the snooker.
Yeah, and just the sort of almost poetry of that, and now it's like, I mean, getting totally obsessed with Ronnie O'Sullivan, and the whole thing about he was on about having he really thought about having his hip replaced because then he could shoot a shot the same way every single time, you know, like the Terminator, you know. And then Barry Hearn was like, have you lost your mind? Having a hip replacement at like 20, whatever it was, 30, just so he could like be this sort of absolute machine about it. But I love all that where he's like, yeah, I'm just going to rock up and win like the UK and the Masters and the World Championship.
Because he's so, I love Ronnie, and I was watching him on something the other week, and it's just more bothered. But it's like, I just rather go for a run these days. I'd just go for a run and not think about the snooker, and then just turn up and still be better than everybody else.
It's totally wild. That documentary is good if you get a chance to see that.
Yes, I need to watch that.
Yeah, he does a lot of running in that, and a lot of just eating full English breakfasts in seaside towns.
See, I wish I could see. That's what I want from life. I want to be that person. I was just like, but I think about going for a run and just like, oh man, it's so boring.
A run?
Like,
right.
It's just
I think
start, and it's that whole thing where it's just the pain of doing it, and then you feel really good afterwards. But it's more that it's not because you enjoyed it. It's just because you could be asked to get yourself through it, and that's what you feel. You feel a sense of achievement in that way, but it's like at no point did I enjoy any of that at all.
Yeah, I guess there is a bit of that, and a caveat what I'm about to say by saying I am a runner and I like running, and sorry about that.
Don't apologise. I wish I could be.
But I've started. I totally like you. I've tried to hack it. It's like, what's the quickest way for me to do this and feel good? And there isn't, and it's almost like just enjoying the process. And now I never used to do any stretches, and I used to end up really achy and hating it as well. And why would I even bother going out? But I've now someone says you should do some yoga, and I was like, I'm not going to bloody yoga. What are you talking about? From Chesterfield? People from Chesterfield don't want to yoga. But I've started doing some more stretching and incorporated that to it, and feel quite good now. It's just it's like 45 minutes on your own. You'll listen to a podcast, and there is a point where I say like 15, when you start sweating, sort of 15 minutes in, where you definitely feel a kind of endorphin rush, and like your body's turning into a machine. And that's, as someone who's never really been into sports and I never really done that much physical exercise, I really found that quite addictive. So I'd recommend, get yourself back out there,
I know. I mean, because I was really sporty.
Yeah.
I used to do loads of sports captain at school. And I used to do it quite a lot, but I don't know. There's just something in me. I just can't get the go.
Yeah, I guess as well, it's a solo thing, isn't it? It's not a team sport, so
which is I enjoyed that a lot more. But now I just like I couldn't even do a team sport now because I'd have the fear of just then I have to go and meet new people and sort of put myself out there, and then I'm not fit enough to start. If you sort of just start and everyone else is really good and you're sort of on your arse in 5 minutes over that, and I just think about all that before, and then never do it and never do anything because you sit worrying about it more than actually going out there in the world.
It is hard, isn't it, to sort of connect with people at this age. I don't know if you're about the same age as I am, but where it's like just feel the sort of weight of life's insecurities bearing down on you.
Yeah. And I turned 40 in November, and I think this year I have just been I just need to say yes a bit more. I just need to do that, which is why I'm doing this.
Great. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's like, sometimes you just I've got to get over that this year. Definitely.
Yeah. Because it's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I mean, people I work in communications and always say, there's no such thing as bad publicity, but I've sort of learned that there actually is such thing as bad publicity.
That's just me talking too much and not being able to stop, and that's probably what I do in front of new people. It's like,
Thanks for watching the episodes, and what's your kind of relationship, and do you have one with the show at all?
Yes. So I was trying to remember when I first got into it, though, because I think I was too young when it first came on, and it was on quite late. So it must have been I think I must have been like 16 or something like that. And then when I got together with David, he had like all of it on like VHS.
Right, yeah.
And on DVD. And then we ended up buying it all and then just caning all the box set. It's probably early 2000s that I think we were doing, sort of building the collection and watching it all. And then it's only quite recently that we sort of sat down and said, "Oh, what do you want to watch?" Because we've never really watched telly. So it was always going back and watching the box set, and we started watching it again fairly recently.
Great.
So but then saying that, I did not remember this episode at all.
No, there's a lot of it where it's totally, because I was the same as you. I lost track of it when it went to Sky because we couldn't afford Sky. So I remember these early seasons, but this one, that's pretty good. I mean, did you enjoy this one particularly?
No. Sorry. And I really wanted to. I was like, I think David really did. We watched it together and he was just like, "Oh yeah, that was really good." And I was like, yeah. But I think because when I thought of it at the end, I was like, do you know what? It's not as far-fetched as it's like something like that could happen.
Yes.
We could get these something like that, and bugs and things do lay dormant. I was thinking about afterwards, and there's like there are things like in the Arctic that have antifreeze in their bodies, and they get to a certain temperature and they go dormant, but they don't die, and then they wake up when it gets. I was like, things like that exist.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's why it's particularly in this one, Scully is kind of into it a bit more and not at all skeptical, because she can like.
I know she freaks out at one point.
She does.
You don't usually see that.
Yeah, she's like, get him off me. But she's, it's a similar with that ice episode where, because it's something, the monster in this one, it's little bugs that may have come out of a tree. It's rooted in some sort of science, and because she's got a medical background, then it's easier for her to suspend a disbelief and go, "Oh, well, that's rooted in reality, so I can get on board with that." So
I love how she's packed. She must have packed that microscope as well. Going hiking, it's like, just make sure I got my microscope with
She's
me.
got a wonderful ski outfit on as well when she turns
I know.
up.
As soon as she came round through the corner, I was like, "Oh, that looks amazing."
It's sort of and Mulder too is just sporting a nice white roll neck, but it's like a lot of the show is very damp, and we're in, I think they say it's like Washington State, don't they? This in the middle of a very damp forest.
It's just throwing it down all the time.
Look,
it was just raining a lot.
I think also there was a bit of kind of behind the scenes, like everybody fell out because they tried to set this up as this episode up as essentially like a money saving exercise, like a bottle episode. We just do it in a single location, save some money. But then when they got there, it was like, just like you say, torrential rain, really miserable. Everybody's like got the monk on, can be bothered with it. So
I think I think you get a sense of that, because right at the start, just even the whole premise is just when they just go, let's split up, let's just make a run for it and just go in different directions. And immediately as you're watching, you're like, that's such a bad idea. It's just like, surely you just regroup, go back to the hut, and then just hike down the hill for a day. And just like, it's just like, it just starts off like, just like, oh, we're just going to all run off and that's it. And
there's
yeah.
Go on, sorry.
And then just from that, for the start of the episode, you just feel like, I think this one's going to be half-assed. I just don't think it's going to be.
Yeah. So I mean, I should say this is season 1, episode 20. It's called Darkness Falls, and as we've alluded to, it is set in a forest. Beginning, we get a lot of forestry workers going, what we're going to do, we've got to get out of here, we're all going to get, something's going to happen to us. And like you say, one of them runs off and they get attacked by something.
They all just scatter.
Yeah. It's the worst thing you could possibly do. But we don't get, we know it's not aliens because we don't get a fade to white in this one. We get a fade to green. So, green, what's that saying? Is that it's in eco, it's environmental. So there must be something to do with, climate and trees going on in this one. And that's what we kind of get onto as the episode progresses. But I did like, I hear what you're saying about the sort of limitations of it, but I quite like the ones when it's just a sort of like a bottle episode, because they can really dial into the little softer little features of it, because this one, I mean, the conversations I've had in the past, people have gone, oh, it looks great, doesn't it? It's shot like a noir. It's, even if the special effects are ropey, it's the lighting's usually really good. But what I really noticed on this one is the sound design's fantastic, because you've got kind of the sound of the insects, which may have come out of this tree, which has been chopped down by illegally by these foresters. And so you've got this kind of whirring from the bugs that may have laid dormant. And then you've got the sound of the generator, which is that's great. It's like, oh God, if that goes, then we're going to be in complete darkness and they're going to attack us.
But yeah, that bit's really good. But then all I could think is when she's lying there, I was like, you're never going to get any sleep with that noise. It's just like, it's so loud.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you even trying to go to sleep for?
Well, unless it's like, isn't it Wayne Rooney? Here we are, football knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
He used to have like a vacuum cleaner on, didn't he? Go to sleep. So,
just insane. Just
channel that. So you've got that noise, and then you've got this like bug zapper that keeps going off as well. So there's really the really heightened sort of sound design of this, which I quite like.
I like the bit where Scully does freak out, and there are all these bugs. They're sort of luminescent and coming in through the dark, and Skull. Mulder's just like, oh yeah, that's sort of residue. They're here all the time, and he must have realised that like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
he keeps going around and touching everything. It's like, what is he doing?
Yeah,
and then it's like, yeah, they're here all the time.
Yeah, I said in a recent episode of this where, a far superior show to this would be one where it's Mulder's fault. He's just causing it all, and there's just for a laugh. And there's various scenes in episodes where it's like, how does Mulder know that, and how has he like brought those files along? But yeah, I think there's certainly. I like where there's like an eco-terrorist called Spiny.
Titus.
Yeah, he's great. So
oh my God, that mustache.
Fantastic. And I felt like he was sort of channeling. I'm obsessed with this film called Manhunter. It's like Michael Mann's take on Silence Alarm's Red Dragon. And there's the character who plays Will Graham in that. There's a guy called William Peterson, and he really reminded me about how they both deliver their lines. He really reminded me of William Peterson, but he is great. And he at one point decides to kind of leave to go and get this truck so they can all get out there, because they're not going to survive another night. So he takes off, and then the forester ranger comes out and chastises Mulder like he's 12 years old. It's such a good.
But the look on his face, because he sort of realised, you know why he's done it, but even Mulder sort of goes, yeah, probably wasn't the best decision I've ever made, and sort of realises, and then it's just that bit where Scully tries to get annoyed with him. He's like, look, just leave it. And she's like, we could all die, but fine. And it was like, if that was me, I'd be like, I'm not gonna leave it. Are you kidding me? And he's just being.
She gives him
just
such
lets it go.
a withering look, doesn't she? She's like, oh God, all right, fair enough.
Again, he's done it again. But then he's just like, he's that really annoying one, because in the end, he's like, he's going to be right, and he's going to turn up, and it's all going to be fine. Although I was. That really surprised me in the end when they did get surrounded by the bugs and they're all in the car, and I was like, well, I know they've not died, so I wasn't expecting them to all be cocooned, and then I was like, how are they getting away with that? How are they not dead?
It's a slight cop out, isn't it? Given like that the head of security's been cocooned, and then in his car, and then the other guy gets cocooned, and they're quite. It reminded me of like Stephen King's Mist. Actually, I thought that was quite creepy. How these bodies are getting. Wrapped up, and then you have Mulder saying "itsy bitsy spider," and you go, "Why? No one in life says that. Why have you just said that?" There's all these. That's almost just a bit too hack, but I'll let him off. I did like this one. I did feel like it was a kind of. It kind of did what it set out to do quite efficiently.
I know what you mean when it's sort of just there's when it's a standalone one, you don't have to think about the bigger plot so much.
Apparently the guy who played the Ranger was a childhood friend of David Duchovny, so I think having him on, there was a kind of camaraderie between the two actors.
Yeah, I thought he was really good.
Yeah,
I liked him
because he didn't a sort of position of authority, but he sort of sides with the eco-terrorists quite a bit, and that was quite nice. It wasn't just black and white; it was kind of grey. So are you going to watch some more then, or are you? How far are you into this rewatch? of the X-Files?
Well, we're sort of a bit dedicated to Midsummer Murders at the moment.
Oh shit! Wow.
So yeah, so that's our main rewatch at the moment. It's just sort of this Sunday night comforting thing we've been doing.
Superb.
But we're absolutely so into it. Plus, it's like what I was saying about being here and about being sort of in a really white environment with no black people. It's like, that's Midsummer. They're all killing each other.
I think that's it's the world is screaming out for a Midsummer Murders podcast, and you should be the one to front that.
Oh, it's so, we love it. We're like into series 9 and there's 22.
Yes. How many episodes is it then is it like 6 per season, or is it?
I think it started off with 4,
Right.
and then I think it went to 6, and then I think it's about 8 now per season.
Right.
And it's just, we just really enjoy it. Like a quarter of the way through, we're like, who do you think it is? And then it's like, we have a stop. It's like, do you want a cup of tea? It's like, yeah. So we'll stop halfway through and go have a cup of tea, and then like resume it, and then just get to that point just at the end. And it's because they're like an hour and a half at least long, and then we're like, shall we watch another one? We're like, no. It's just ridiculous.
Is it an hour and a half? I didn't realise they were that long. I thought they were like
Yeah.
7 hour episodes. Right.
So yeah, so we're loving that at the moment.
That's great.
So not as much room for X-Files because I think we've done that twice now. So we feel like
and it does feel like a slog sometimes.
Plus, I think you always get sort of so far in and then realise just like, did we ever finish watching it? It's like, what happened in the end? And it's like,
Yeah. Are you open-minded then about the supernatural, or would you describe yourself as a total skeptic?
But I'd be more open to sort of other forms of life and things like that because the universe is so big and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think if they're intelligent enough, they'll just stay away from us. Basically, I think they'd be like, "Oh, look at them!
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere near them."
What are the kids into at the minute? Are they into any particular TV, or do they like drawing, or what sort of stuff are they into?
Well, so TV wise, we've just got Edie on to start watching Erie, Indiana.
See, this
Erie,
is
Indiana?
yes, right, brilliant. Well, that is. I don't know why I didn't think of that, because Lenny, my 7-year-old, really knew I was watching the X-Files, but I could not find an episode which wasn't going to mess him up,
Yeah.
because they're all a bit too harrowing. And he's going around telling all his friends that he's watching X-Files, and then at the kids' party yesterday, someone took me to task about it and said, Is your son watching the X-Files? Like, no, not really. So Erie, Indiana, that's a great call.
Yeah, so that's really good. And it is still a bit creepy, but it's just in the way, I think it's just in the way it's just older and the way it's filmed and it's shot, and it's just, some of it's just just not very good.
Yeah.
But it makes it's really effective because it is a bit scarier.
That's
So
good.
yeah, and I mean, I think Edie's going to be a bit of a horror buff, but it's mainly David's fault though. He's always trying to get him to watch stuff that I was like, they're not ready for that yet. And he's like, oh, they'll be all right. And and then she's got like a horror colouring book and stuff like that.
Oh, is she? What, like Freddy Krueger and that in there?
Yeah, it's just zombies and all sorts. And I was like, does she need to be doing that? She'd be 8 this week. I've got the birthday party to do this week, and I say birthday party, I've just let her have a couple of her friends.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I'm letting the parents drop them off, so I don't
Is
have
it?
to have any conversations. It's just like, just leave them here. I'm just going to give them some sugar and let them run around.
Yes. Oh, nice. That was good.
Yeah. Also trying desperately to get him into just playing instruments. We've got a set of drums upstairs. I've got an electric guitar for 1 year. This year she's get a keyboard. But then she's like, I don't want to do lessons. So
Yeah. That's... Yeah.
I'm trying to make a band, basically. I'm trying to form a tiny band.
Yeah, we tried to do that. We moved into this flat. We're sort of atop of a tenement building, and we inherited a piano. So I try and get on that a bit, and I learnt keyboard when I was younger, but I can't really play piano very well. So I'm hoping, via this stuff just being around the flat, that eventually they're going to sort of pick it up. But I guess it's that thing, that it's like, don't get kids too into football too early, because they're going to burn out by the time they're 15.
Yeah, just get bored of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for when, maybe Lenny's going to discover Nirvana or
just
something.
like blowing the dust off the instruments, like. I'm like, all right. But I think it might be easy because they've all got apps and stuff now. So I'm pretty sure if I put it on their iPad and just leave them to it, they'll just be virtuosos in no time at all.
It is a brave new world. Believe Me is written and edited by me, Chris Boyd, with production support from Steve Marshall. The music is by Johnny Boyle, and our logo is by Russ Brown. See you out there next time.